Hello everyone, welcome to Try Right. This is Path 365, myself Srija. So today in this session, you are going to learn about the anatomy of cardiovascular system. So you will be able to learn about how it's going to function and how it is important for us in day-to-day life. So cardiovascular system can also be called as the rhythm of life. So this is the introduction to the cardiovascular system. So cardiovascular system, it is also known as the circulatory system. It is the body's essential transport system. So it works as non-stop to move the blood throughout the entire body. So what does the system do? It carries the oxygen and nutrients. Means it delivers the blood delivers the oxygen and nutrients to every cell in the body. So without this supply, the cells cannot survive or function properly. So it can also remove the waste products. So the blood carries away the carbon dioxide and other waste materials. So these waste are taken to the lungs, kidneys or liver to be removed. So the other function of the cardiovascular system is the homeostasis. Homeostasis is nothing but it keeps the body in balance. So it helps to maintain the normal temperature, the fluid balance and also the stable internal environment. So this it also supports all the organ functions. So every organ like brain, kidneys, muscles, skin release on the continuous blood flow. So if blood flow stops, so organs fail, right? So this is the use of the cardiovascular system. How the blood plays role in cardiovascular system, how the heart plays role in the cardiovascular system. So why is continuous circulation important? So blood must keep moving all the time to keep the body alive. It should give the cells the oxygen they need. It should remove the harmful waste. It should also maintain the blood stability. So this constant flow is what keeps us healthy and also the functioning. So let's talk about the three main components of the cardiovascular system. So what are the three main components of the cardiovascular system? The heart, blood vessels and blood. So these three important parts, they each play a specific role in keeping the body alive. So coming to heart, it's a muscular pump. Its job is to push the blood throughout the entire body. So think of it like the engine that keeps everything running, right? So blood vessels. So how does the blood vessels play a role? These are the pathways that blood travels through the flow. So these blood vessels, they include the arteries, veins and capillaries. So arteries are nothing but they carry the blood away from the heart. Veins, they carry the blood back to the heart, and capillaries, they are the tiny vessels where the exchange of oxygen, nutrients and happens, right? So together these vessels act like the pipelines that allow blood to move smoothly everywhere. So next, the important part is blood. So blood is not just a liquid, right? It's a fluid tissue. It is also called as a fluid tissue. So it carries the oxygen, nutrients, hormones, waste products, etc. So blood delivers what cells need and removes what they don't need. So how these three work together? The heart pumps the blood, the vessels transport the blood, and the blood carries the oxygen, nutrients and waste. So this teamwork ensures tissues to get the blood or to get the food and oxygen they need, and also the harmful waste are removed quickly. So why this system is so important? Because it keeps every organ alive by supplying oxygen and nutrients. So the cardiovascular system is one of the most vital system in the human body. So now let's discuss about the brief into the three main components, nothing but heart, blood vessels and blood. So first we'll talk about the heart's anatomy and physiology. This is heart. You can clearly see the picture of the heart over here. It's the anatomy of the heart. So what is heart? Heart is a hollow muscular fist-shaped organ, right? So where it is located? It is located in the mediastinum, is nothing but a middle of the chest, which is slightly tilted to the left. So what is the main job of the heart? Its main job is to pump the blood to the entire body. So it supplies the oxygen and nutrients and also removing the waste. So the main function of the heart is to pump the blood to the entire body. So it supplies the oxygen, nutrients and removing the waste. So this is a clear picture of the heart. So let's talk about the blood vessels and capillaries which are related to the heart. Here you can see a superior vena cava which is blue in color. So it brings the deoxygenated blood from the upper body into the right atrium. You can see the inferior vena cava over here towards the down bottom. So this brings this deoxygenated blood from the lower body to the right atrium. So you can also see here pulmonary trunk. Pulmonary trunk, it carries the blood from the right ventricle to the lungs, and whereas right pulmonary vein and left pulmonary veins. So these bring oxygenated blood from the lungs into the left atrium. So right pulmonary artery and left pulmonary artery. So this branch from the pulmonary trunk, and also they carry blood to the each lung. So aorta. The aorta, it's the largest artery, the red color one in the top. So this carries us the oxygen-rich blood from the left ventricle to the whole body. So this includes the ascending aorta, aortic arch, and also the descending aorta. So what are the chambers of the heart? You can see here clearly the right atrium, the right ventricle, left atrium, and the left ventricle. So right atrium, it receives the deoxygenated blood from the body. Left atrium, it receives the oxygenated blood from the pulmonary vein. Right ventricle, it pumps the blood to the lungs through the pulmonary trunk. And left ventricle, this is the strongest chamber with thick walls. So it pumps oxygenated blood to the whole body throughout the aorta. So you can also see the coronary arteries, the left coronary artery, the right coronary artery. So the right coronary artery, it supplies the blood to the right side of the heart, whereas left coronary artery, it supplies the blood to the left side of the heart. So they run in the coronary sulcus. This run in the coronary or front groove. So you can also see here the auricle of the left atrium and the apex of the heart. So what is the auricle of the left atrium? It's a small ear-shaped flap that increases the atrial space. And what is the apex of the heart? It's a pointed bottom part of the heart. It is formed by the left ventricle. So it points downward and to the left. So simple way to remember the function of the heart is that the structures which are blue in color, they carry the deoxygenated blood. So this coming from the body to heart, then pumped to the lungs. So the structures which are red in color, these are the oxygenated blood. They are coming from the lungs, then pumped to the body. So next, coming to layers of the heart. So what are the layers of the heart? The heart wall is made up of three main layers. So the picture on the right shows these layers from inside to the out. So what are the three layers? Endocardium, myocardium, and epicardium. This is inside to the out. So coming to endocardium, it is shown in the picture as the thin innermost lining, right? Endocardium over here, you can clearly see in the picture. So it's a thin smooth lining that covers the inside of the heart chambers. So this endocardium, it is made up of the endothelial tissue. So this endothelial tissue is the same type that lines the blood vessels. So this helps the blood flow smoothly without the friction. So this endocardium, it lines the walls. So this prevents the clot formation inside the heart. So you have to think of it like this smooth inner lining of a pipe that allows water to flow easily. Did you get my point? And next to endocardium, it is the myocardium, the middle layer. It is shown as a thick muscular pink layer in the diagram. So this is the thickest layer. So it is made up of the cardiac muscle. So this myocardium, it is responsible for the heart contraction, nothing but pumping action. So it is thickest in the left ventricle because it needs more force to pump the blood to the entire body. So this is the working layer that creates the heartbeat, right? So next, coming to the outer layer, the outermost covering layer of the heart is epicardium. So it is the outermost layer, right? So it is just above the myocardium. So this is also called as the visceral layer of this serous pericardium. So it is a thin outer covering of the heart. So it contains the blood vessels, nerves, and fat. So this layer, what does it do? It protects and supports the heart from the outside. It protects the heart from infections. It protects the heart from the pressures. So in the picture, you can see the pericardial cavity. This is a space with the lubricating fluid, and peritoneal layer, this is the outer serous membrane, and fibrous pericardium, it is a tough protective outer sac. So these extra layers form the pericardium. It protects the heart and it reduces the friction during the beating. Okay, and these are the heart layers. So as I said you, the epicardium, it's the outer layer of the wall. It is a thin protective covering. It is also called as the visceral layer of this pericardium. It contains the blood vessels, it contains the nerves, it contains the fat, and also it protects the heart surface. So what is the important point to remember about epicardium? It is the part of the both the heart wall and the pericardium, right? So pericardium, it's a protective sac. So pericardium, it is not a part of the heart wall, but it surrounds the heart like a protective bag. So it has two main layers. What are they? Fibrous pericardium and serous pericardium. So what is fibrous pericardium? You can clearly see in the picture, it is the outermost thick protective layer. So it is a strong, tough and non-stretchable layer. It anchors the heart to the diaphragm and also the sternum. So what does this fibrous pericardium do? It prevents the heart from overexpanding. It protects the heart from sudden pressure changes. So you have to think it as a like strong outer bag. So serous pericardium. So what it is? It's an inner layer. This has two layers with a fluid-filled cavity in between peritoneal layer, outer one, and the visceral layer, inner one. So it is shown as the middle layer in the picture. So this peritoneal layer, it lines inside of the fibrous pericardium. So it is a smooth membrane, right? So visceral layer, coming to visceral layer, it is same as the epicardium. So it sticks directly on the surface of the heart. So the epicardium is the visceral layer of the serous pericardium. So then pericardial cavity. So what is pericardial cavity? It is shown as a small space between the peritoneal and visceral layers in the picture, right? So this is filled with the pericardial fluid. It reduces the friction as the heart beats. So it reduces the friction. Whenever heart beats, it creates the pressure, right? So to reduce the friction, pericardial cavity functions. So it allows the small movements like oil in a machine. So this prevents the rubbing and also the irritation. So this is about the layers of the heart. So next, coming to chambers of the heart. So how many chambers do you have? Do the heart have? 4 chambers, right? Heart has 4 chambers which are divided into right side and left side. So each chamber has a special job to keep blood moving. So on the slide, the diagram shows the heart cut open. Slightly you can see the right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle, and also the septum. So coming to right atrium, it is located on the upper chamber on the right side of the heart. So in the diagram, it is labeled at the top right side. So what are the functions of the right atrium? It has thin walls, okay? It has thin walls. It receives the deoxygenated blood, nothing but the blood without oxygen from the whole body. So after receiving the deoxygenated blood from the whole body, this blood enters into the right atrium from superior vena cava. Superior vena cava is nothing but it receives the blood from the upper body, head, neck, arms, and then it enters into the inferior vena cava from lower body, and also the coronary sinus from the heart's own blood supply. So think of the right atrium as the collection room for used blood returning from the body. So next to right atrium, right ventricle, it is located on the lower chamber on the right side. So in the diagram, it is the lower and slightly larger chamber beneath the right atrium. So what are the functions of the right ventricle? It pumps the blood to the lungs to pick up the oxygen. So it sends the blood through the pulmonary artery. It has the thinner walls than the left ventricle. So because it only pumps blood to the nearby lungs, not the whole body. So you have to think the right ventricle as a delivery pump sending blood to the lungs. So the right side deals only with the deoxygenated blood and sends it to the lungs for oxygenating. So this diagram, in clearly you can see the blue areas, these are carrying the deoxygenated blood. So the septum in the picture divides the right and left side of the heart, preventing blood from the mixing. So next, coming to the left atrium. So Left atrium. In the picture, the left atrium and left ventricle are shown on the left side of the heart, usually colored red because they carry oxygen-rich blood. So left atrium, it is located on the upper chamber on the left side of the heart. You can clearly see in the picture. So what are the functions of the left atrium? It receives the oxygenated blood, which is oxygen-rich blood. So the blood comes from the lungs. The blood enters through 4 pulmonary veins, 2 from left lung and 2 from right lung. So you have to think of the left atrium as the receiving room for fresh oxygen-filled blood coming from the lungs. So next, coming to the left ventricle. It is the lowest, strongest chamber of the left side. So what are the functions of the left ventricle? It has the thickest and strongest walls. So it pumps oxygenated blood to the entire body. So blood leaves the heart through the aorta. So the left ventricle is the main powerful pump that sends blood everywhere from your head to your toes. So why left ventricle is the thickest one? So it has to pump blood with the higher pressure because it sends oxygen-rich blood to all the body organs, not just only to the lungs. So that is why the left ventricle is the strongest chamber, and that is why the left ventricle is the most thickest one than any other chambers. So this is about the chambers of the heart. So now next, coming to walls of the heart. So what are walls actually? So introduction to walls. So heart walls act like one-way doors. What it is? One-way doors. So what is the role of the valve? They keep blood moving in only one direction and they prevent the backflow. So whenever blood is moving in one-way direction, these valves they see whether the blood is not flowing backward. So they do not allow the blood to flow backward. That is the main job of the valves of the heart. So how many valves of the heart are there? There are tricuspid valve, mitral valve, pulmonary valve, aortic valve. So valves are divided into atrioventricular valves and also the semilunar valves. Okay. So what are atrioventricular valves? The valves which are located between the atrium and ventricles are called as atrioventricular valves. So what are they? Tricuspid valve, mitral or bicuspid valve. Okay. So coming to tricuspid valve. So where does this tricuspid valve is present? Where does it located? It is located between the right atrium and right ventricle. So it opens to let the blood move downward. It closes to stop the blood from flowing backward into the right atrium. You can clearly see in the picture the tricuspid valve over here at the left top side. It is located between the right atrium and the right ventricle. So this tricuspid valve, it works like a gate controlling blood flow from the right atrium to the right ventricle. So next, coming to the mitral valve, is also called as bicuspid valve. So this mitral valve, it is situated between the left atrium and the left ventricle. So this has two cusps, okay? Whereas tricuspid valve has 3 cusps. You can clearly see in the picture. So this prevents the backflow into the left atrium. So left side has bicuspid, left equals to bi 2. Bi means 2, okay? So tricuspid and bicuspid valves are called as the atrioventricular valves. So now next, coming to semilunar valves. So what are called as semilunar valves? These valves are between the ventricles and atria, ventricles and arteries. Whereas atrioventricular valves are between atria and ventricles, whereas semilunar valves are between ventricles and arteries. So they look like half moon shaped flaps, means like a semilunar, like a half moon, which you see. So what are the semilunar valves? Pulmonary valve and aortic valve. So what is pulmonary valve? Where it is located? It is located between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery. So what does it do? It opens when the right ventricle contracts and it closes to stop the blood from coming back into the ventricle. So after receiving blood from the right ventricle, it sends the blood to the lungs. So this is the function of the pulmonary valve. So what is the function of the aortic valve and where it is present? So this is located in between the left ventricle and aorta. So aortic valve, it opens during the ventricular contraction. So this allows the oxygenated blood to enter the aorta, the largest artery. So it closes to prevent the backflow into the left ventricle. This sends blood to the entire body. This aortic valve sends the blood to the entire body. So in the image, you can clearly see the tricuspid valve. It has 3 flaps or 3 cusps. So mitral valve has 2 flaps. Pulmonary valve, it is semilunar. And also the aortic valve, it is semilunar valve. So this picture helps you to see the shape and positions of the valves inside the heart. So next, coming to the structures that supports the heart walls. So there are some structures. So the AV valves like the tricuspid and mitral valves, they need extra support because they open and close with the strong pressure, right? So these support structures prevent them from flipping backward. So there are 2 support structures called, what are they? Chordae tendineae and papillary muscles. So what are chordae tendineae? These are the thin, strong and tendon-like cords. So they attach the AV valve flaps to the papillary muscles. So what is the function of this chordae tendineae? They hold the valve flaps in place. So they prevent the valve from inverting, means they blowing backward. Okay, they prevent the valve from inverting into the atrium during the ventricular contraction. So when you think about the chordae tendineae as a heartstring, it prevents the valves from flapping backward. So the other support structure is the papillary muscles. So what are the papillary muscles? These are the small muscle projections inside the ventricles. So the chordae tendineae, these are attached to them. So what is the function of the papillary muscle? They anchor the chordae. They contract during the ventricular contraction. So they keep the valve flaps closed and prevent the prolapse. Preventing prolapse is nothing but the bulging backward into the atrium. So these support structures, they open and close with the strong pressure. So these mainly are important and they play a major role with the heart valves. So when the ventricles squeeze, the papillary muscles pull the chordae tight and chordae hold the valve flaps closed and steady. So this stops the blood from going backward into the atria. So this is about the support structures of the heart valves. Yeah, this is all about the anatomy of the heart. In this session, you have learned about the chambers of the heart, layers of the heart, the walls of the heart. And I hope this session has helped you to learn about all the structures of the heart. In the next session, you will learn about the physiology of the heart and also the cardiovascular system. Thank you.